Okay, so I'm starting to remove the components that I need to remove in order to replace the Mechatronic. On this car, we did pretty much all the tests, and we checked pretty much what we needed to check. I checked like the wiring harness on the front of the Mechatronic, the main connector. I checked the harness there for corrosion and also for wire breakage. So this one there, we think that it's the Mechatronic. It's a little bit like the CVT transmission in the Audis. Some of them go bad. So, and I've heard that some Mechatronic go bad also. On this particular car, we had to order the Mechatronic from the dealer, and it had to come directly from Germany. So it took like 3 weeks. And it's a pretty expensive part, so anyway, we hope that that's gonna cure the problem with this car. All right. Okay, so right now I have the oil filter for the transmission removed, because we're gonna change the oil, obviously. But what we can see here from the oil filter, I've noticed when I removed it, there was all shiny parts. I don't know if it's aluminum parts, but it feels, you know, like aluminum or steel, or I don't know what to think about this there. See, this was in the oil filter. So anyway, we're going to be removing the Mechatronic and drain the oil, and we'll see. And this is the box the Mechatronic came into. Okay, I'm gonna open it up and see, show you what it looks like. So that's good. But yeah, that's you can see some metal particles in the oil. So anyway, we'll look at it. Okay, now I have removed the air box in the front here, the battery and the battery bracket. So this is the battery brackets, a plastic part. And I removed the oil filter, and I shown you that it had quite a bit of metallic, I don't know if it's aluminum or what it is. I haven't tried with a magnet or something. But so I put the filter back on, just the cap, so I don't want any dust falling into the transmission. So right now I have removed the starter. I don't know if it shows to remove the starter when you remove a Mechatronic, but I felt that it was much easier, more access. There's only 2 bolts on the transmission and the power supply and the connector. I mean, the ground, there's a main ground on the same bolt as the starter here on the bottom. So when I remove the starter, so you have much more room to remove the Mechatronic. The Mechatronic is in this black steel cover, and this is the main connector. As you see, there's no corrosion. I had sprayed some contact spray, and it connects here. And there's a main harness that hooks up to that bracket. I removed one little screw there, and there's another one. And I'm going to be removing also the lower intercooler pipe, that rubber pipe that is below. And from the top, I think I have pretty much removed everything. I'm going to drain the oil in the transmission, and we'll go from there. Oh, and this is the box that we received from the dealer. Okay, so like I said, it took at least 3 weeks. They did not have any in North America, and it says made in France, but it came from Germany, I guess, at their main warehouse. And the Mechatronic number for this one is 02E325025AM and ZJB. So that's probably the code for it. So it says Mechatronic, and it comes in a box like this, you know, with handles on the side. Okay, and so you open the box, and there's a bag. And there's a little notice that they say to grab the Mechatronic from the sides, not mechanical like speed sensors and stuff like that. So this is the Mechatronic itself. I don't know what's under that box. I don't know why the box is so deep. So maybe there's a second one in there. I don't know. Anyway, So this is the Mechatronic we're going to be replacing. See, it has some solenoids. This is the main connector here. There's a little cap, and these are, I think these are the two main solenoid for the both clutches, like K1, K2, and there is some temperature sensor and then some solenoids. So anyway, so I'll be installing the whole assembly, and we'll check on later if it works. Okay, now I have the front pan removed and the side pan. The oil is drained. Okay, but also another thing that I noticed is on these solenoids, I can see that it seems to have a little bit of that little metal shaving, because these solenoids, they have you know, it makes like a magnet, and if you look, I can wipe it down. Okay, so this one has little metallic on it too. This one has some too. This one not, neither that one, and the side cover is removed. You can see there's a sensor here, and you can tell on the magnet also there's some metal shaving, because this is magnetized. You can see there's some metal shaving there. So you can see if I wipe it down, it becomes brown, like, you know, but it has that metal, you know, dust, you know. So I'm not exactly sure if changing the Mechatronic will help or not. So I'm not sure where that metal particle is coming from, actually. You can see on the top here, this is the oil pump for the Mechatronic, for the oil pressure to engage the clutches and stuff like that, and lubrication. Anyway, so I'll remove the Mechatronic and see what's going on. Okay, now we have the front pan removed. Okay, and we can see in this particular transmission all the little metal shavings. That's the same metal shavings that I found in the oil filter. Okay, so it's got quite a bit, and you can see in the oil here in the bottom, but on the side here you can see there's lots of little grits. Okay, and this is the Mechatronic itself. On this side everything seems to be okay, but on the where the solenoids are, you can see that this solenoid has quite a few like metal shaving hooked up to it, and this one had, but I wiped it with my finger. This one has some also, but the worst part of it is when we remove the Mechatronic from the transmission. See, we have also put a floor jack with a bar, and we pushed the transmission as far as we could up to the control arm bolt here. Okay, but once we remove the Mechatronic, okay, you can see the amount of metal shaving here. Okay, it's all, see, there's lots of metal shaving here, and on the top here, see, that's full of metal shaving. Okay, so I don't know what's, you know, what's being taken apart in this transmission. Is it clutch fibers? I don't know, but or metals or bearings or what it is, but you can see there's lots of metal shaving here. Okay, on the top. So at three areas, like this, here, and at the bottom. Other than that, we don't see anything else, obviously, but we can see gears inside the transmission. I can see some metal shaving here at the bottom. You can, there's lots of metal shaving right there. So I guess this transmission is done for sure. We were gonna install a Mechatronic, but surprise, surprise, when we went further, it's more than just a Mechatronic. It's really internal, but maybe these little metal shavings went into the Mechatronic, and that's what made the Mechatronic fail. But if we would put another Mechatronic in it, maybe it would work for a couple days, and then Mechatronic then would fail. So I guess it would be probably a good experiment I guess when we're going to remove this transmission, we're probably going to put a used one into it, and I'm probably going to open it up and see what went wrong in this transmission. That's going to be, I guess, a case to see just what went wrong in this one. So anyway, we can't go any further with this project, but we'll probably post some videos of the transmission, probably remove and dissected. All right, that's good. Okay, so this is the transmission we're going to be putting in this 2011 Volkswagen GTI. Okay, it's got a dual clutch transmission, and this is the old one. The old one, we already removed the Mechatronic on it, and we had ordered a new Mechatronic. By default that the engine was making, we thought that the Mechatronic was defective, but at the end it seems like there's something internally. I think these are probably magnets, or they're sensors, but probably they're magnets. You can see clearly that the transmission has a lot of metal shavings. You can see it on the top here, okay, and on the right, okay, and maybe here, yeah, you can see here there's a lot of metal shavings, okay. So we've removed the Mechatronic, and on the end here where the pump is, it's the same thing. You can see that there's a lot of metal, because this piece here is a sensor. All right, so this sensor here, obviously there's little magnets, so this attracts metal particle, you can see. And I opened the cover for this one just to inspect it, make sure it's okay. This one has around 40,000 kilometers on it, and this one is real clean. I had removed the oil filter. See the oil filter housing? It's all real clean in there, okay, really clean. And the filter's removed right now, and this is their filter. And I noticed that there's no metal particle on the filter itself or on the oil. This is the end cover. You see it's very clean. I'm just going to clean it with brake cleaner. But as you notice, also the speed sensor here, this one is very clean. You can read numbers off of it, okay? So I would suggest if somebody buys a double clutch transmission car, the first thing to do is to get this cover removed. This cover is very easy to remove. It's only a couple of screws, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6 screws. And then if you look at this wheel here, like I said, this little wheel has all these little bars are magnets, and if the transmission has some wear in it, this will not be as clean or clear, you know. So that's probably a good thing, you know, if you have a dual clutch transmission car that you want to buy secondhand, it's probably a good idea to have this cover removed and have it inspected. So that will give you a general idea of the health of the transmission. This one, there is a core charge on it, and this transmission, we decided to keep it because I'm going to be opening this transmission. I've never opened a dual clutch transmission before, and this is the cover for the dual clutch. So there's two clutch in here, clutch K1, K2, and these clutches are in the oil, okay? So I don't know if it's the clutch that went bad or just bearings or such. Anyway, so this one is, you know, defective, it's trash. And this one is the same year a car, but this one has a different code. I think this one was a MSY, and this one I think is a MMY, or I can't remember the code, but this one has a different code. So I've never done that before. I never had to replace a dual clutch transmission ever yet. But I'm going to be putting this transmission because this particular code is quite rare, and they're quite expensive. And this one I got a better deal on it, and this one had very low mileage. So anyway, I'm going to be putting back the cover on and the oil filter, and I'm going to change the oil. Obviously this one is a mess. It wasn't shipped dry, so, but anyway, I'm going to drain it, put new oil in it. One thing that I noticed, see this dowel, no, this is not a dowel pin, excuse me, this is the bolt that goes through. There's one of them that goes through the starter hole, okay? So when the starter is here, you don't see this one because it's inside. So so that's the one, and that's about it. So anyway, that's what it looks like when everything is removed. There is a pilot bearing here. This car had 115,000 kilometers, so I'm not going to replace that little bearing. I'm just going to lube it. I'm going to lube the spline, and I'm just gonna leave it as it is. This one is not a whole, you know, like I said, a high mileage car. But if this car had double the mileage, let's say like 200,000 kilometers, I would have removed this flywheel, and I would have either replaced it completely, or I would have put a rear main seal on it. But this one doesn't seem to be leaking at all. It's very very dry. But if I would have seen some oil, I've heard that some 2 liters have a tendency to leak on the rear main seal, I would have replaced it. But in this case, I haven't. And then again, the subframe is removed on the left side in order to clear the transmission. And this transmission is on the transmission lift, so it works very good with a transmission lift. Anyway, so it's just give you an idea. I'm going to give you guys an update after it's installed. The oil is changed and everything, and we'll go from there. We'll see, you know, if this car will accept a different code transmission. This is an experiment. I hope it goes okay, but anyway, we'll see. Okay, so I have installed the transmission. Everything is in the working order. I went for a test drive, and everything seems to be okay. So to just recap, I have installed the MSY in transmission code for this particular 2011 GTI is the old transmission that was in the car, and the one that I put on there is the MMA. So it's a 2011 also GTI transmission, but it's a different year, well, not different, I guess, production date. And I'm just gonna close the hood. So we'll go for a little test drive and see how it shifts. But to me the car does not notice that it has a different transmission. The driver noticed it because the transmission that was in this car was not, I mean, the car was going forward, but it was quite severe, you know, like jerking and bucking, and it, you know, you would have think that something would break. Okay, so we'll just have a normal acceleration. Okay, and I guess I'm gonna put my safety belt. See, right now it's neutral. Let's drive. So right now it's probably in 6. So right now that's in 5th, 4, 3. I'm gonna upshift. 5th, 6. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna accelerate, I guess full throttle, just to show that it, you know, it shifts normally, doesn't slip or nothing like that. So you know, that's good. I don't know what would have happened if I would have put the Mechatronic from the old transmission in this transmission. I don't know if you do, you know, if you put the whole transmission, with its original Mechatronic, maybe it's not a big issue. But if you could, I guess, if see it right now, I'm just leaving. It doesn't buck or nothing like that. So right now I'm gonna go full throttle. So you can see that the transmission shifts perfectly, and I'm gonna go and check for codes. Okay, so I'm gonna back out. Okay, fault codes, none. Okay, and this one, the ECU number for that MMY transmission, or MMA, excuse me, is the 02E300253N, as in Nancy. So this ECU number might be different than the one that was in the car. I didn't compare. So I mean, that works. So in other words, you could probably interchange DSG transmission if you leave the stock Mechatronic from that transmission, but I don't know if you can interchange them, if it would work or not. But anyway, so this car has, I mentioned this already, it's got 118,310 kilometers. Okay, so this was a total failure. I'm gonna do another video later on. I'm gonna tear it apart, the old transmission. There was a core, but I bought the core because I was curious to see what went wrong in this transmission with such low mileage, and why it failed. So anyway, so that's a good job, and that works good.